Yo, coming to you live from World Championship in San Jose. Welcome to the Living Legends podcast.
Well, yeah, speaking of playing video games and card games and also just being cool people, hello and welcome
hello
to the Living Legends podcast, your one-stop shop for everything related to the Flesh and Blood TCG. I am your host for today. My name is Bill, and joining me as always are my two lovely co-hosts. Alphabetically, I'll kick it over to Az.
Yeah, so Az from Goarin Gaming, how's it doing? Hope everyone's doing well today. Got a lot to speak about today, lots of stuff going on, and lots of cards and flavour and all this sort of thing to delve into, so it should be fun. And James White followed me recently, so I'm very, very happy.
Oh, you beat me to it. I was going to make a joke about how you and James are like best friends now.
Oh, brilliant! I mean, I can get into all that in the into this week in Flesh and Blood. Cause there's quite a bit. I've done quite a few things on Twitter, but I'll throw it over to Kel in the meantime.
Oh, hello. My name is Kel, also known as Red Zone Rogue. I'm doing all right. We're going to talk about some Flesh and Blood this week. I'm really excited. This is we talked about like Burnout a couple of weeks ago, and I'm starting to wash off of me, and I'm really getting into it. I'm really getting stoked about Flesh and Blood again. Really excited about like the future of Flesh and Blood. A lot of the stuff we're talking about today is stuff that is super exciting in the world of Flesh and Blood, and we just get to talk about some cool new cards from the Dusk Till Dawn set.
Yeah.
Because there's some, we got some spoilers to talk about too, actually.
Yeah.
As well as some other stuff. Spoilers that curious on Bill's opinion, because they have to do with his favorite Flesh and Blood waifu. And that would be Bolton. No, I'm just kidding.
Bolted, yeah.
Bolton, best waifu.
But we do actually have some
husbando.
We actually do have some. Hey. I ranked Bolton S tier husbando in my Flesh and Blood.
Husbando, absolutely.
He is. And
he really is.
And it's only like compounded by the fact that the voice actor who did Bolton in the latest trailer that we'll talk about today did an absolutely amazing job. That dude's voice is just so strong. Oh, I love his voice.
It's brilliant.
I just want to say now too, before we get to that it was done by Dave Fennoy, who is like an A-list, S tier Hollywood actor. He's done stuff for The Walking Dead. He did Ben 10, and then Incredibles. He was in Incredibles 2. So like legit, like super super legit, doing a Flesh and Blood trailer. You know how freaking awesome that is. That makes me so excited. Oh, it's so exciting. Like, just makes me start thinking about like Flesh and Blood in like a super professional animated setting. Everyone talks about the arcane treatment, but before I was just like, yeah, whatever. But now I can like picture it. I can hear it like with this level of voice acting. Like, oh, it would be so good. And if they got a good studio behind it, like a good animation studio, oh, it would be so good. So anyway, I'm just excited. I'm excited to talk about Flesh and Blood this week, if you couldn't tell.
Oh,
absolutely.
Yeah.
There's a ton of stuff, and might as well get right into it, because we keep kind of getting drip fed new cards from Dusk Till Dawn, and they're all really, really interesting. And in the sort of the current train of specializations that we've been getting, we just keep getting a different one for a hero that people just full on, at least myself, didn't think was going to be included in this set even remotely. So yeah, the next one, the most recent one that we saw that is still a specialization, is one for Lexi. And it is Call Down the Lightning. It's a yellow 0 cost with lightning action with 2 block. And it says your attacks this turn get whenever the defending hero adds 1 or more defending cards from hand to the chain link. To this chain link. This deals 1 damage to them, and then it also has go again. And then also keeping with the theme that we've currently had, this also has a unity mechanic. So when this defends together with a card from hand, you create an embodiment of lightning token under any number of heroes' control, which is definitely interesting. We don't really have ways in Lexi currently to make embodiment of lightnings. You have ways to give your attacks go again by flipping up lightning cards with her effect, but the embodiments are really like Briar's thing. That was her whole deal. So yeah, I think this card is interesting. They definitely had to keep it a little bit more reined in by making it adds one or more defending cards from hand instead of just whenever they add one, like give and take is. Because otherwise that would be kind of schnutty.
Yeah, well, okay. I have thoughts on this card as a Lexi player, and I think Lexi just might be my favorite hero in the entire game at this point. She's the hero I always come back to. She's the hero I played the most. I think I'd be lying to myself if I said she wasn't. I have a giant Lexi post, not even a poster. This is a signed 2 of 10 canvas of Lexi, like right in front. It's like almost like a shrine. So I think this card is kind of mid, to be honest. I want it to be super good. I want it to be really good, but I think it's kind of mid. So it blocks for 2. It's yellow, which is fine. I think they're all yellow, actually, now that I think about it. I think all the specializations that they revealed are yellow. Yeah, I think every single one is yellow. The one thing that I think is good about this, let me tell you what I think is bad about this. It's telegraphed, right? This is not an instant, this is an action, right? So you play this, and then your opponent is like, oh, now this is an effect. And then they can choose whether or not blocking or not blocking is more beneficial to them, right? The idea here is that you're attacking with things that have on-hit effects that punish them for blocking, and if they don't block, they're punished anyway. That's the idea, is like they're going to be like punishing them no matter what. But this gives your opponent all of the information, so they can decide if blocking is good or blocking or not blocking is good. So a lot of the times they might just be like, okay, no blocks anyway. So if you're going to make me do the thing anyway, I'll just keep my cards and then take whatever punishment you're going to deal to me, and then I'll clap back and try to do harder. The best part about this card is it's not your next attack action card. It's all attacks for the turn. So that this makes it okay. I think the thing that makes this card okay is that part, because you can play this on a 3 of a kind turn. So you start your 3 of a kind turn with this, and then you 3 of a kind, and then you presumably shoot them with a whole bunch of arrows. And so the idea is that you're going to be heavily punishing him, so much so that it's going to matter. The worst part about this is sometimes it won't matter. Sometimes you'll play this as Lexi, and they're like, cool, I just don't block anything, and it's almost as though you just wasted a card, like it did nothing. It was just a card that was wasted. So overall, I think this card has potentially pretty good upside, but generally pretty mid, and therefore I think the card is generally pretty mid. So that's my thoughts on Called on the Lightning, especially in no fuse lists. In no fuse lists, there's no way you're playing this. Like nothing is getting in my no fuse Lexi. No card. This is significantly worse than every card. Like, there's no way in hell I'm taking out like Premeditate or any of the codexes like for this. Like, there's no way. So yeah.
It's interesting alongside Ball Lightning, and that's
which is
pretty
banned.
much where my which is just where my my thoughts sort of end for this one.
Yeah, I was like, people are like, oh, it could be good in like Lightning Lexi. I'm like, Lightning Lexi kind of sucks. Like, they banned the best card. It could be interesting in like a ice Lexi where you really want those on-hit ice effects, like the ones that force them to discard cards or to give them like frostbite tokens. And then couple that with like the shock charmers to get additional pings, so you can get multiple triggers. But that's like super resource intensive, and then you need this card too. I mean, or you don't even need this card. You can do that stuff anyway with shock charmers. So
it's kind of reminiscent of like Ice Storm. Where it's a card that looks like it has a decent like ceiling to it, but it actually there's a lot that goes into making it even remotely good.
And like at least Ice Storm, I think at least still gave Lexi a +3, right? Wasn't Ice Storm like a 0+3?
It was, yeah. It is just a 0 for 3, so it does have a baseline of just being an embolism.
This one doesn't even do that. It's just like it's just like her. I dare you to block me, and they're like, no. And you're like, oh, I'm sad now.
No.
I'm sad now. And I didn't even get into this. They can still block with equipment. It's only things from hand, so they can just block with their stupid fridge. So if they're like a guardian or something, they could just be like, I don't care. I just block with my armor. I don't know. People are like, I've seen some people like, oh, it could be good in the second cycle, but that feels like copium to me. So like, just play a card that's good all the time, like forehead.
Honestly, just play Nimbleism.
Just play Codex of Frailty,
Probably,
forehead.
yeah. Codex of Frailty, yeah.
Yeah, or premeditate. Like, why are you wasting your time with this? Just play something good. So, yeah, I don't know. It's
Just a quick interaction on this. It says your attacks this turn get whenever the defending hero adds one or more defending cards from hand to this chain link. This deals 1 damage to them. So does that count as an on hit? So your attacks are dealing 1 damage. Does that count as an on hit being triggered?
So let me see.
It
When
doesn't count as an on hit, but there are like things like what is it? Chilling Ice Vein or something.
Yeah, let me see the
that
exact
say, like
wording.
whenever this deals damage.
Okay.
It will trigger that,
damage.
but it won't trigger like when this hits type deal.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're looking for, in order to make this work, or the copium deck that you'd probably try and put together with stuff, is any cards that say when they deal damage, you do this thing.
It's the same.
On top of that, you would need to fuse those cards because all of the ones that say when this deals damage do a thing require a fuse as well. So that's a 3-card hand. Using the 4th card for pitch, I guess.
And you can't even use this card. If you have like duplicates, you can't even use this card to fuse because all the good ones are ice. And this is lightning, so it's like, I said, I don't think this card's that good. Maybe in the future, but honestly, I don't know. I don't know. And like,
a little bit interesting.
All the cards that do that also are the ones that you would use for Shock Charmers, and Shock Charmers just is an onboard way of doing this anyway. So I don't know. The art is really cool though, so I'll give it that. Art's incredible. But
it always is from Federico.
Federico just has the market cornered on illustrating Lexi.
Really?
Yeah, man. As a Lexi player, I'm just like, yeah, no. This is knock the death whistle, and Red in the Ledger. This is not.
No.
It's not. Hey, it's not as bad as Regicide. All right, let's get that straight. It's no Arachne specialization, but it's also no Azalea specialization either. Hell, it's not even a Bravo specialization, which those tend to be bangers too. So
nice.
While we have a pause, just a second, fellas.
Okay,
no probs.
I almost forgot that the Lexi one got spoiled. I don't remember. I don't think I talked about it in a YouTube video.
No.
The video that I put out yesterday, I talked about the United We Stand card, and then the banners, which they don't seem great, but maybe one of them, the resource banner, might be good.
I haven't even seen those.
Yeah, they're the cards posted by IGN. There's 3 Light Warrior banners, and then United We Stand.
Why did I miss those then? So that wasn't in the video, was it? The banners weren't in the video.
No, they were on the website.
Oh, I see. Right, okay, that explains it then.
Yeah. So yeah, I go over them in my video that I posted yesterday.
Okay. Riley left her phone at home, and I don't think she realized it. So her friend was calling it frantically.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. Just a sec. I'm gonna mute this so that if they don't get that message and they just continue to call, that I don't hear it. Anyway, okay. So yeah, and then we'll go back in and we'll talk about the next one, which is a Marvel level event, United We Stand.
Oh, it really is.
Yeah, and so as was saying, he did not see the banners. You saw the banners, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I have those posted as well.
Cool.
But yeah. And following that up, we have a really interesting one, which I think Az maybe called the shot for, however long ago that was. It kind of depicts a Marvel Endgame sort of event. It's called United We Stand, and it has basically every good aligned hero shown on it. Yeah, good aligned.
Yeah.
Personally, I wouldn't call Briar good aligned, but that's just because I'm
PTSD.
salty.
Hey,
Yeah.
I would not call Oldham good aligned either. Are you kidding me?
Oh yeah. No,
Oh
true.
God.
Yeah, he's slow aligned.
Old
But
Yeah, this is-
aligned.
This was a massive bit of news with the United We Stand thing. Obviously, it came out with a massive trailer, as Kel alluded to earlier, with the voice of Bolton and what have you. It was absolutely fantastic. I didn't actually see. Only saw the video. I didn't see the other cards that were associated with it, which we'll touch on in a bit. But yeah, the trailer was absolutely awesome, and it made me think of like. Back in March, I did like a poster of like loads of heroes, like in an Avengers style thing, and I brought it back up on Twitter recently, and then James White saw it and retweeted it, and he was like, "Oh, this is prophetic." So I messaged him afterwards saying, "Oh, cheers for retweeting it. You're doing a great job with this game. Everyone loves it, etc." And he was like, "Oh yeah, it's great. It was fun. It was prophetic." I was like, "Yeah, definitely."
Yeah. For viewers out there, if you can remember what episode we talked about that, because I remember we brought it up in an episode on the podcast about how like they were building up to like an Avengers style event. Yeah, and this is something that like even way back when I think Steven, like Diamarmata and I talked about something like this happening all the way back in Tales of Aria, because we saw that Lexi and Oldham were like gonna go try to like round up the crew, and we're like, oh, I wonder if they're setting up for some kind of like cross regional event kind of thing. So like, I didn't expect it to happen this soon, by the way. So it's really interesting. And also, I'd like to note we've only seen like one side of it. Where's the shadow, homies? Like, yo, where my shadow bros at? Like, come on, I want to see.
Yeah.
I hope it's not just. I don't remember if I talked about it here or just like in private with you guys, but I hope it's not just like Levia and like Vincent and then just a bunch of rando monsters versus like six named heroes, and you're like, well, they're not gonna win. Like the 2 named characters versus like the 8 named characters like have no shot. So hopefully they like recruited some. Like hopefully it's gonna be like Chain and Viserai and Levia and Vincent, and then they have like Ursur and Plasma Fett, and then maybe they've even hired like the spider assassin, so maybe Uzuri and Arachne are there because they're just there for money, and like maybe even Azalea's there because she's like hired or something. Like maybe they've got their own crew that are like that are there. That is what I want. Give me that. Give me the good side, or give me the side that actually can combat these people. I want to see a fair fight. I don't want to see like just a pub stomp of all of like oh, they're just killing like nameless fodder demons. I want to see like Uzuri fight. I want to see Uzuri fight like Dorinthia or something. Like I want to see some cool stuff go down. Like I'm imagining Civil War, right? Not Avengers yet. I'm imagining Civil War, where that scene where when they're at the airport and the 2 teams are like running against each other, and then you see them start fighting. Like Spider-Man's like fighting Ant-Man or whatever. Like I want to see that. Give me that.
Yeah.
But I did a video on this recently as well, and it alludes to comic book storytelling. Is like these teams, right? Because obviously you got all these light heroes and talented heroes against this shadow faction or whatever. But those teams need to be aligned in power level. You can't have Azalea and the ninjas going up against the shadow. They'll just get ripped apart by endless more. You need to have. You need to have like the Bravo, and that be like Captain America, Thor, etc. The high-powered. Like Captain America isn't really high-powered, but he's the leader. But then you need like the defenders, the street-level heroes, being the ones from the pits and the assassins that are dealing with the the street-level threats and stuff. So you could build up all these different teams from the world of Wraith, all of which are having their own storylines and coming together, like this art, which is just absolutely fantastic from Alexander Morkov. But yeah, we want to see more of that, and yeah, the more obviously, if you have all these teams do their own little segments, it's going to feel even better when they're all coming together. Because in this art, for instance, Azalea's not on it, but I made a point that as much as I hate Oldhim, it's going to be sick when Oldhim's like, oh yeah, charge in there, Azalea. Azalea jumps on his massive bastion of Eisenloft and flies over and like does like loads of arrows in the air and stuff. You can just see it happening, like all these weird team ups. Not right now, but obviously in the future it would be sick to see all of them come together. But the way they're building it up is very sort of MCU. And that's what James said. He said, hold my beer in that interview. And I did a thumbnail where I was holding his beer in that recent video.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
I have one other point before we start talking about what the actual card does. And that is, it's really clear how they were structuring this preview season event leading up to this, because all of the characters in the art are the cards and the specializations that were spoiled leading up to this. And all of that art featured in those specializations were in the trailer as animated images. So you had the Bravo card, you have the Briar and the Lexi and all that stuff were leading up to it. So it's very clear now that you've seen this, why they were doing it and what was leading up to it. They had like a plan. They're like, okay, we're going to be leading into this big reveal. So I thought that was pretty interesting and pretty cool. And that's something that if Alex is listening, I recognize. I see what you're doing, man. And I thought it was pretty cool. So
that's good stuff.
Yeah, and I don't recall. I didn't actually get a chance to watch the release trailer, but I think that people, if it wasn't actually specifically noted in the trailer, are kind of using this card specifically as like maybe a jumping off point for additional speculation for group formats.
So
like 2v2 or 3v3.
In the article, they specifically mention PvE. James White specifically talks about it in the article on the IGN article. He doesn't say anything that we kind of don't already know. He just says it's going to be a cooperative format. It's meant to be more friendly to social players and that kind of stuff. And then he just talks about vague things about how they're looking to expand that. And then he also mentions very briefly that they want to expand the Flesh and Blood IP into other things. He was not very specific about that either. Just that they're looking for opportunities to expand Flesh and Blood beyond just the card game. And so you can't help but think like novels, shows, movies, that kind of stuff. But he was very vague on all of this. But they did mention PvE specifically. However, I would like to, once again, every time I want to talk about this, I want to be very clear. James White has officially said on Flukenbach's YouTube channel that PvE is not coming this year. Unless they've changed their mind in that time, we know PvE is not coming this year, so I think everyone should temper their expectations. Even though this card is basically useless outside of a cooperative setting.
That's what I don't understand though. Why would they put this in a supplementary set when it's gonna have no use? That's what I don't understand. If it's gonna have no use, people are gonna pull this and like, oh yeah, okay, I'll save that for later. That's a bit of a strange experience for someone to pull this and have no use for it, unless there is also like a module or some sort of thing that you can use with this set, and it makes sense because it's light versus shadow. That's a perfect PvE setting. But they're also, as you alluded as well to Bill, there are a lot of people on Twitter have been saying, "Oh, what about a 2v2 format or a 3v3 format?" That could also be, because that's something that we spoke about as well briefly. It could be a cool little thing to experiment with, but it just seems a bit bizarre that this is in there if they're not going to do anything imminently, at least.
To be fair, they've always alluded at stuff. They've always put things that like are just kind of weird in their sets that allude to other stuff.
Yeah, but not stuff that's not playable. Surely, not actually. Well, you can play it, but it's just, I don't know. It's a weird one.
I mean, the last sort of set like this, I guess it wasn't exactly the last set like this, but I mean, sort of. Everfest was sort of another like all hands on deck sort of supplementary set, and they included Genus and Silver Palms as a legendary.
Yeah.
And
I guess you can make the argument that this
Yeah.
is UPF playable. Well, no,
Yeah.
it's not, because you don't have a party,
Well, I don't
so
know.
you don't get the thing.
Well, so the thing is we don't actually know what party means. Like you can
No, that's
you
true.
can guess, but like, does party mean it? Are you your own party? So, for example, once we get into the card mechanics, if you block with this with 2 cards, if you are Bolton, do you get a courage thing? Like, are you a party of 1, or are you only a party if you have more than 1 player? Like, they haven't been very clear. They haven't been clear on how this works.
Or does party just mean the group of people that you're playing with for that thing?
Like,
people around the table.
If you're playing team sealed, do your teammates count as your party? Like what counts what counts as your party? So they have not. I'm sure this will be in the CR, right? So there's a lot of things, but
elaborate.
As it stands, this card looks useless. But I would also like to point out as that you yourself spoiled a card that had almost no use. Sandscour Greatbow was spoiled, and there were no aim counter things yet. So like.
At that precise moment in time, that was true, yeah. But there was aim counter matters in the set though, wasn't there?
Mm-hmm.
So there could be more of these if someone's in your party do a thing, but if there's no module for it to be applied, it just seems to me that's a bit strange. But I'm just playing devil's advocate. I'm just throwing in counterpoints to this.
No, absolutely.
I'm just saying literally what James White said in the Flukenbach's interview. He said no PvE this year. He doesn't understand where people got the idea that it was going to be this year, and I don't want people to get their hopes up when it rolls around December and it's not out. So
I don't remember where I heard it, but for me it was always kind of like hopium, just that it would be out sooner because I just want to play it. But
so I fear that part of the misconception was people were misunderstanding something I also said, and what I said is James said previously that it was 2023 at the earliest is what he had said before, and that does not mean 2023. It just means at the earliest. And the last time he said anything was that it will not be this year. So, I mean, there might be other ways. There might be other ways to do party. Like Az was saying, there might be other ways to use this in party outside of PvE, right? Maybe in UPF, if you do like a 2v2 kind of thing, or 3v3 kind of thing, maybe that works. I don't know. We'll have to see.
Yeah, if you want pure utter copium, people that are listening to this, watch my video on it, because I went into all sorts of different crap as to what could happen. Like a PvE module where your team is allocated a token which makes your hero a light hero, and all that stuff. But yeah, loads of speculation on it. I just don't understand the place. And if you're getting this, the value of it, what is that? It's just a bit strange to me, but excited nonetheless for what it means.
I actually think this card is like hot garbage, by the way. I think it's really bad. I think it's actually like really, really bad. It's a 3 for 6 that blocks for 2. Like, those are awful stats. Like,
yeah,
they're so bad. Then when you have Command and Conquer, which is a 2 for 6 that blocks 3 and has a nuts ability, like I heard one argument for this on my video that I posted, and someone says this might be playable in Oldhim as a sideboard option against Dromai because it's a light card that pitches for 2 and it doesn't mess up your Lumina turns. And my response was, I don't play Oldhim. I don't play Bolton, but I hope for the sake of Bolton players that they get something better in this set, because I think that's hot garbage.
Oh, Bolton's going to be sick, I reckon, in this set.
Funny thing, actually, that sort of leads us into the next cards that we can talk about, which are basically exclusively Bolton cards.
For the sake of audio listeners, we should read off what the United We Stand does first. I don't have it in front of me. So Bill, if you got it, you can read off all of the tokens that it generates.
So yeah, as Kel said, United We Stand is a 3-cost 6 attack that blocks for 2. It pitches for yellow, and it's a majestic, so it only ever comes in those stats. And it only has unity, so it has the block from hand if it blocks together with a card from your hand. If Bolton is in your party, create a courage token under his control. Then repeat for Bravo and Seismic Surge, Briar an embodiment of Earth, Dorinthia and Courage again, Lexi an embodiment of Lightning, Oldham and Spellbane, Aegis, Prism and Spectral Shield, and Shyana and Eloquent.
And to note, those are the tokens that their specializations also create.
Yes.
They have the Unity mechanic. So like, it's a 3 for 6 that blocks for 2. And if party means you have to have more than one player, like if it means that you can't be in your own party by yourself, that means this card is like essentially like hot garbage. It's a 3 for 6 that doesn't do anything. If you can be in your own party, then I guess it's playable in Bolton and Prism. If you want to block with 2 cards and get a courage token, I guess.
Yeah.
But
or get 1 Spectral Shield.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. And then like in Bolton, I'm like, you're already like charging stuff out of your hand. Like, so blocking with this plus another card to get the bonus is like you're down 2 cards anyway. It's like, how are you even going to charge with stuff in your hand? I don't know. I don't play Bolton, so maybe the Bolton players are like, oh, this is good. But as a non-Bolton player, it looks bad.
We don't know what courage does yet, too, is kind of the thing. But I think it's just going to be something around your next weapon attack costs 1 less or something. I feel like that's probably what we're going to be getting from it.
Yeah.
But yeah, once again, speaking of Bolton and charging cards, this segue just will not die.
It's just so good.
We have 3 bannerets, which are actually our buy a box promos, which is interesting because I actually do very much appreciate buy a box promos as somebody who buys a lot of boxes.
Me too.
But
if I buy 28 boxes, do I get 28 promos, or I was only like, you only get 1? Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, but these are interesting. I think people are a little bit low on these right now, and I can definitely see why. But with the deck that Bolton currently has, I feel like these are not the worst things to include. So they're all very similar. The promo versions that we see only come in yellow. So far, there's tons of yellows in this set, and really not much of any other color. But we have Banneret of Resilience, of Salvation, and of Vigor. And all of them are yellow. As I said, all of them cost 0. They attack for 3 and block for 3. And they are all light warrior action attack. And then they all have a new keyword called Soul Flare, which isn't... I guess it's a new ability.
It's cheeky. That's what it is, because it's called Soul. It's called Soul Flare, but it's spelled SOL Flare. So it's like flavor. Yeah.
Yeah, but I guess technically, Spirit of Irina has Soul Flare. Kind of. It's not really a keyword. It's an ability word, but it reads. Let's start with Banner of Resilience. When this is charged to your hero's soul, the next action card you defend with this turn gets +1 defense. And then of Salvation is when this is charged to your soul. The next time you hit this turn, you gain a life. And then finally, of Vigor gives you, when this is charged to your hero's soul, the next time you hit this turn, gain a resource.
Yeah.
So I think that they're interesting. They are obviously like not super great, because one of the main things about Bolton that kind of sucks is, like Kel was saying, you run out of cards in your hand very quickly, because most of the cards that require you to charge also, well, I mean, not all of them. Most of the ones that are played in the deck do cost 0. But, you know, if you want to do more than one thing on a turn and block, and you're only left with, I think there is still one that you play like a 6 of. You play like the reds and yellows in Bolton. It still costs 1. So in order to play that card, you need a card to pitch and a card to charge in order to get the most value out of it.
Yeah.
So you're attacking for 3 or 4, really, for 1 resource, but it costs you 3 cards out of your hand to do so, and it feels so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So to get the benefit out of these cards, right, you have to have already charged a card from you already had to charge a card into your soul. So to even get the effect from this card, you need to have charged your soul and then played this card to get the effect, and then play another card to get the on-hit effect for the other card, right?
Mm-hmm.
Thankfully, no, because these ones, they trigger when they themselves are charged to your soul. So
Oh,
if
okay.
you
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, so if you attack with a thing and use this to charge, then the effect will be active, and it is just
Okay.
for all of them. Banner of Resilience is weird because it implies that you're able to charge on your opponent's turn, because it says the
Yeah.
next action card you defend with this turn gets +1 defense.
Yeah, I mentioned
So-
that in my video. I don't know
Yeah,
how you do that. Like,
yeah, a little bit strange, but
okay,
you know.
so you only need 3 cards then to make it work. You just need a card that charges plus this card plus another card to get the benefit from it. So
Yeah.
assuming the card that you're gonna play after this costs 0, and if it doesn't, you need a 4-card hand or tunic or some other way to get a resource. I do.
Yeah, or a
think-
5-card hand.
Or 5-card hand. I do think the resource one is likely the best of the 3 because just getting
Yeah,
resources is really good, and just getting an extra resource to maybe attack with a hatchet or whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
is probably
And
pretty good.
The interesting thing as well, for specifically the resource one, for Banneret of Vigor, it is just the next time you hit this turn. Like, not with an attack action or whatever, and it's not like the next attack you get has or whatever. Like, it is the plunder run wording of you can then attack 3 or 4 times, and if they don't block the last one, you still get the resource. So that is the good wording to have on it, technically.
I don't know if you. I don't know if these have been spoiled yet. Actually, well, it looks like they have, but they're on FAB Rary. There's a few other bannerets as well that are not in this. Group chat. So you got Protection, Gallantry, and Banneret of Courage, which is actually the one with Bolton on it. So there's 3 more as well, which do similar things. If you want to read those out as well.
Interesting.
Take a look.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen them yet.
So yeah, we also have apparently Banneret of Courage, of Gallantry, and of Protection. These ones, much like the other ones, they all share the same stat line. These ones cost 1 more, so they all cost 1. They all pitch for yellow, and they all attack for 4. Of Courage gives you a Courage token when it's charged to your soul. Of Gallantry gives you a Quicken token when it's charged, and of Protection gives you a Spellbane Aegis.
Interesting. Why would you get a Quicken token if a Courage token was just a worse version of it? A lot of people were thinking Courage tokens were like Quicken tokens, but only for weapons, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Quicken tokens also apply to weapons.
Yeah. So I think that this just about confirms that it's probably your next weapon attack costs 1 less.
I think so. Yeah.
Or however they have to word that for that to work.
Yeah. Or just look at Courage of Bladehold. It's the Courage of Bladehold does the exact same thing, doesn't it? So it makes sense. If it's not, I'll do a shoey on the podcast.
Ooh, okay. All right. Live shoey.
I do think that makes sense, and that's sort of what I was thinking. I remember mentioning that I thought maybe it was just a Quicken token for weapons.
Watch that it's just like +1 to your next weapon swing, and as do a shoey.
Yeah. Brilliant.
But like, for these ones, of course, it's hard to really figure out what the power level of them is and how good they are. Except for maybe like the Banneret of Protection, I think that getting a Spellbane Aegis is like probably pretty bad. At least as like as a main deck inclusion.
And these are also all 1-for-4s, which also seem kind of bad.
Yes.
And also, since these 4 are also promos as well, I have a feeling that we will not see full cycles. I think this is the cycle. I don't think we'll see red and yellows. Yeah, I think we're not going to see red or blues.
We might also get a blue, we might get a yellow one that's 1 step up and be like a 2-cost 5 or something.
Maybe.
It's possible that they do like the full set of 9 to basically take up the spot of a regular card.
We could also get like a majestic one or something that's just like much more powerful.
Yeah. But yeah, the other thing that is really awkward about these ones is that they themselves do not charge. So if you're including these cards in your deck and you draw just like a hand of them, they are all just like vanilla. They all like just kind of suck. So I'm thinking and hoping that there's some more consistent way to charge your soul. coming up here. Especially with, like I said, with Banneret of Resilience being something that's relevant only on your opponent's turn. And there aren't really ways to charge your soul on your opponent's turn. In fact, I don't think there are. I could be wrong. But even things like Soul Shield, they don't charge. They get put into your soul, which is different.
All right.
Charging is a specific mechanic.
Well, Bolton mains, hear me out. This is what y'all need. You need some sort of mechanic that lets you charge from your deck, the top of your deck, instead of your hand, because that way you're not screwed out of like hand resources. I think that would actually make Bolton like not awful.
I think that's like such a reasonable way to make charging less bad. Is just have it be resources from somewhere else, like even if it's from your graveyard, like whatever.
Banish, like Blood Debt and Banish, like you play from an extra zone, like your Lily play from your Banish zone, and Bolton's just ripping the crap right out of his hand, and it's like, it's just like not great equity. Maybe the mechanics like reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a light card, then you can put it, you can charge it into your soul. Something like that would be sweet. Bolton mains, I'm here for you. So I hope you get something good. Yeah, I don't play Bolton, but I want you to like be able to play Bolton.
They've put a lot of slots into specifically Bolton cards because there is no other light warrior currently. Yep. So far we've seen 6 that are specifically Bolton cards that care about charging. So hopefully they're not just leaving Bolton as he is and being like, oh, you can charge these things now. It's like, no, that's not the problem.
I would like to point out one thing. We have not yet seen, I think this is the only character in that artwork as well. We have not yet seen a Bolton specialization either.
You are correct.
Every other character in United We Stand, we have seen a specialization.
Yeah,
true.
We've seen Briar, Oldhim, Lexi, Bravo, Dorinthia, Shiana.
Yep.
So we have not seen a Bolton specialization, which is an interesting call out.
Also, I pointed this out in the video that I made. If you really look at the card United We Stand, 2 of the characters are kind of getting snubbed. Like Lexi is barely in the card. You can kind of see her head peeking out, and then her arm with the bow. And then Bolton has filigree covering his face.
Yeah.
One of the commenters says he got the Mike Wazowski treatment, and I was like,
just about to say Monsters Inc.
Yeah, like Bolton just can't get a dub, even when he's like leading the charge on this key card. The filigree is just covering his face.
Yeah, that's really tough.
God. Yeah. That's good.
Yeah, and then so the last one that I'm aware of, actually no, not the last one that I'm aware of, in terms of actual reveals for Dusk Till Dawn, is another promo. All of the cards that we've seen so far have been promos. I guess, except for the specializations and Bologna. Those ones have been revealed just as Majestics. Every other card is promo rich, promo rarity.
United We Stand is also not a promo; it's a Majestic.
Yes.
So good. So have fun opening that in your booster packs. By the way.
Yeah. But one final card that I'm actually kind of interested in. I think if there's any deck that this card would be good in, it would be the deck that I play. And the fact that I'm not completely on board with it should maybe tell you something about how I feel. But it's called Angelic Wrath, and I think objectively this card is actually like not bad. It is a light illusionist instant. It comes in all 3 colors, so this is the first one that we've seen that actually has multiple colors. And they cost 0 across all 3 of them. And they read, the red one reads, target attack action card with Herald in its name gets +4. And then it goes down to 3 and 2 for the yellow and blues. A 0 for 4 is a huge bump.
It's pretty good.
And it's directly in line with a lot of the buffs that we see just illusionist cards getting anyway. Like Phantasmify is 1 cost, give your next thing +5. Realistically, Transmogrify in usually like the worst case scenario, it's like a 1 for 5 or 6. But yeah, so this is an instant that is kind of like in the same realm in terms of damage as a pummel. That costs 2 less. It is a lot more restrictive because it's just cards with Herald specifically.
I would like to draw the comparison between this and Lightning Press. I think in my mind, they share the most similarities other than the fact that this does 1 more damage. Both instants, both cost 0, both affect a certain range of cards. Angelic Wrath affects a way more narrow range of cards than Lightning Press, which is anything that costs 1 or less. But I feel that that's like the best comparison to make, in my opinion, just because they occupy kind of the same space. It's kind of like, aha, gotcha thing.
And they're both instants that don't block as well, right?
Yep, they're both instants.
Instance is a little bit rough in that respect.
The +4 is interesting because 4 is generally a really good breakpoint in Flesh and Blood, right? +4 here, you can think of it as like nullifying a 4 block reaction, right? Like Sink Below or Fate Foreseen or something like that. This kind of like cancels one out. Another way to think about it is maybe Shred. How Shred is like a 0 for 4. Shred 0 for 4, a little bit different, but similar, I would say.
Yeah.
And I want to say probably similar in power level too. It's the saving grace here is that because it's an instant and not an action like Bill was saying, like Phantasmify and all of that kind of stuff, you can play this after your opponent has blocked, so you know whether or not your attack is going to get Phantasm popped. So that is the saving grace here. You won't get like got. Some of the people saying like, oh, you can just play this with the gloves to make sure it doesn't have Phantasm. I'm like, my thoughts are like, yeah, you could have done that with any of the other pumps anyway. Like with the 1 for 5s, you could have done that anyway to get like your 10 attack Herald of Erudition or whatever. But
that's the card that I'm sort of most interested in for at least the red one, because Herald of Erudition with this
spicy
becomes
meatball.
a 9.
It's pretty good.
9 with Dominate, draw 2 cards, and that's a pretty worthwhile trade in my eyes.
It is pretty cool because 9 with Dominate does get over a 3 block card from hand and a defense reaction, like a 0 for 4 from Arsenal. That's going to be blocked for 7. So it'll leak 2, which means the yellow one will also just leak 1, which means even if you just have the yellow one, you still will push through that damage and draw your 2 cards from Erudition. I actually think this card might be pretty good in Blitz, where like you can just get someone, you can just absolutely dumpster someone. Because right now in Blitz, Prism, if you didn't know, is still legal, which means good Luminaris is also still legal. So you could still just like Erudition the crap out of them with Go again, and then just like beat the crap out of them if they don't have any poppers. And this is why I think you could go like all in on the Angel thing and just kind of just smash them.
You could do that, and you could also red Wartune Herald into red Angelic Wrath for 11.
Yeah. Yeah, boy.
Yeah, protection, and Ravages. Ravages also deals an arcane damage, so you can deal 12.
Yeah.
But I think one of the key cards I want to point out is something that was in Monarch, which I think is going to be horrendous in this deck, especially because it's Herald aggro, and that's Parable of Humility, which gives everything the opponent's control have -1 while attacking and defending. So say bye to your 6 power attacks. That's going to be a horrible card to play against. It does cost 4, but it's not nice.
You can compound that with the Sam Yang Herald. I forget which one it is. I just know Sam Yang did the art. That anything that's blocking it also gets -1 attack. So if you have
Judgment.
Yeah, so if you have both out, then it gets -2 attack. So that means they need to block with an 8 attack. They have to block with an 8 attack to pop it. So that's just like a big ol' beating.
Swing big. That's only Reyna can do. Only Reyna can do that. Or Bravo.
Yeah,
there is
Guardians
also
can do it.
Ninth Blade of the Blood Oath.
Yeah. So
attack.
There's other ones too. We can talk about them. So there's like Maximum Velocity, the one that attacks for 11 or 10 or whatever it is. So there's a few cards out there, but generally speaking, people are going to have those. And the ones that people normally run are the 6s. You know, they'll run like their Command and Conquers or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I think that's legit. I think that's legit. Especially
That's going to throw a spanner in the works, isn't it?
especially if you're playing in Blitz and you still have a regular Luminaris, so you can use it to attack as well. So because it's an aura, so you can just poke them with the aura. Oh, that's good.
Oh.
Yeah.
So
I to correct myself, Herald of Triumph is the one you were talking about. Yeah, and it is illustrated by Sam Yang.
Yeah, I just know it as the Sam Yang Herald. Yeah.
Yeah. He also did Arclight Sentinel, to be fair.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, that can still be played too.
Oh, that can be played in New Prism too. Like just get it. You just get it. Like
just have it.
I think Prism's going to be pretty sweet. Like I actually really like the direction they're taking Prism. They were like, it's funny. I think they saw all of the aura attacking BS. I'm like, wait, what are you doing? We don't want you to do that. We want you to attack with the Heralds. Why aren't you playing the Heralds? Stop playing all these auras and play the damn angels that we printed. Like, play with the angels.
I'm trying.
And so they're like, we're gonna force it on you. You have to play with the angels. Another important thing to note. Something came up in my Discord where we were talking about this because I'm more medium on this card than some other people. A lot of people are like, oh, it's so good, 0 for 4, and I'm just like, it's probably okay. My take is that it's probably going to be decent. I don't think it's crazy. I think it'll be decent in the same way that Lightning Press is decent. And by the way, I just cut Lightning Press for my Lexi deck. So that'll tell you how strong I think Lightning Press is. I think it's good, but I think there's better things that give you value, because this just gives you damage, which can turn into value if you're attacking with something like Herald of Erudition. But I think the important thing to note about this card is that it is neither a Herald itself nor a Figment. And if you're going to be building this deck that presumably wants Figments, you're going to need to be able to balance the number of Heralds in your deck, the number of Figments in your deck, and the number of ancillary things that go around your Figments, possibly like the aura that Az just mentioned. So like something like this is very likely not a slam dunk 9 of in your CC deck. It might be like a 2 of the yellow, or like something like that you'll play it a little bit, but it's probably not one of the key parts that makes your deck run well, right? Just how the same way people run like a couple pummels, like, is this as impactful as a pummel, right? Like, even though pummel costs 2, pummel also rips a card out of your opponent's hand, and I see people cutting pummels from a lot of decks, and like, is this as good as a pummel?
Yeah,
it's free. It's a free damage. But if you're playing CC and all you're doing is damage, like that, a lot of the times that's not good enough, right? You need to do more than damage.
There's a specific part of the game where that is good, and it is not the early part of the game.
Which is why, like, maybe you get in like with the yellows or the blues, and so like they come back on your second cycle, so you can push the damage through. In CC specifically, I think the reds in Blitz are pretty fun because you can just you can high roll them. But like I said,
that's the decision points that this new Prism's pushing upon you, isn't it? Because if you hit and you take this raw damage from the angel, it's only raw damage, but then they get a Figment. What does a Figment do? They can go shoot for something that then consistently attacks, plus whatever else they're going to be doing.
Well, so we don't know what Figments are yet, technically.
Exactly. So.
Yeah, we can guess. We have educated guesses, but until we actually see what they are, we don't actually know. They could be doing a big old bait and switch, and the angels are like something completely different. Like, who knows? Like,
yeah.
So we'll see.
I do think the yellow is probably the most playable, but that's kind of how it is with Prism cards in general. Like, the yellow is the most playable, specifically in conjunction with Luminaris.
And here's the other thing too. Like, I'm thinking of like CC Prism, like new Prism. Like, it's great that this costs 0, but it is also another card that you have to have in your hand to play. Like, if you want to actually play it, and like if you're playing your Heralds, which are going to cost 1 to 2, and then you're activating your Luminaris to give them go again, which is another 2. That's like, if you're lucky, you're playing a 1-drop Herald, which is, I think there's only 1. It's just the War Tune currently. Like that's a blue pitch card from your hand to play it and give it go again. And then you also need this other card to pump it. Like, this is a lot of cards. It's very like card heavy. Of course, you can set up with Arsenal and all that kind of stuff, but like I said, I think it'll end up being like, okay, fine. It'll be decent.
Yeah, until we know what the figments are, it's hard to tell. But if you let a herald hit you, you're not just getting the damage; you're getting the prism effect, which is going to be the key decision point that you're going to have to make.
Yeah. Well, the heralds generally attack for a lot anyway too. So it's like,
Yeah.
I'm like, is 4 like? I think like Bill's saying, I think the yellow one's probably the best. Maybe even the blue one, because like most of the heralds attack for like 7 on their own. Like if you attack with the red ones, right? Most of them are like 2 for 7s. The only ones that aren't have evasion. There's the couple that have dominate. There's the erudition, and then the other one that also has dominate. In which case, like so
it's definitely an interesting set of cards. As somebody who loves specifically buff cards in specifically Prism, these are going to be weird, because even though you can sort of play around, like you were saying, Kel, you can play around your opponent just blowing you out after you play your Phantasmify into your card, and then they use one card to just blow it up for no value.
Yeah, they're just like block my CNC. Yeah,
it's like you can play around it and not lose the card in your hand, but then your turn is still kind of just ending.
You just arsenal and pass, I guess.
Yeah, like it doesn't necessarily help that game plan, but I do think that they're cool. I do like lightning. I love Lightning Press just as a card. So it makes sense that I would also love this card.
I love the greedy go power, Timmy style decks. If you go back and look at some of my first gameplay videos, I think I was playing with DM Armada a lot, but I literally played like Angel Pump deck. Like that's one of the first gameplay videos I featured on my channel was me playing Prism, all heralds, and then I played Pummels. It was like a Pummel Prism deck where I just try to herald you and pummel because almost all the heralds cost 2. And it's like fine, but like it sucks like when they pop your stuff, which is often, like it's more often than I would like. Unless you're playing like Ninja or something, or like Azalea who doesn't have any poppers, and then you're like, "Ooh, this is great." Especially like Ranger who doesn't have any poppers and their armor sucks for blocking. Then you're just like, "Ooh, free tendies." But
loving life, yeah.
But then you're having a great time then. But then you play against any Guardian or any brute, and then you're very sad because literally every card in their whole deck is a popper, and then you're just like, "Well, this sucks." Glad I have my $200 boots to make it so I can get my action point back, and then they can pop my second attack.
You can just play the turn the way that everybody else can play their turn.
So what basically the trick to that is to wait until you have an absolutely disgusting turn, because I use the Dreamweavers, and so I would just wait until I had like a Dreamweaver, Phantasmify, Herald of Erudition. I'm like, I'm hitting you no matter what. You can't do anything about it. Like, I'm attacking you for 15. You can eat it.
Just eat it.
Exactly. I was gonna start singing Dreamweaver because I said Dreamweaver.
Yeah.
Dreamweaver, I believe get me through the. I'm done. I can't do it.
Wow.
Anyway, so
that de-escalated quickly.
Yeah, that was a thing. Yeah. Old Red Zone Rogue fans will know. Anytime I pulled a Dreamweavers, I would sing that song.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna use the word "sing" loosely.
Didn't you have a reference as well to? Or no, I think. Yeah,
Bon
I think it was you. Yeah, with Runaways.
Yeah, Bon Jovi's. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, she's a little runaway. Of course. I love doing that.
Speaking.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Surgeon. Seek and destroy. Oh hell yeah! That's like one of the best metal riffs like ever made, and I will stand by that, metalheads. I don't care if you think Metallica has sold out; they have, and if they are old and busted, they are. I still like their old stuff. Kill 'Em All is an incredible album, and the riffs from that album are like absolute classics. So I stand by that. That's Kel's Metalhead Corner. Anyway, back to
Metalhead Corner.
Get back to Flesh and Blood. Next week we're arguing Megadeth versus Pantera. Anyway.
Yeah, and then finally, these aren't really spoilers because we don't have what the cards actually do. But on Star City Games, fabnationals.us, I have a screenshot from one of my locals that posted this on our local Discord. They posted an updated prize structure for cosplay contests.
Oh yeah.
And so first place gets the Taylor promo card, which cosplayers have already been getting, as well as a Fabric of Spring playmat, which we don't know what that is. Then second to fourth place gets the promo card for that. They get Fabric of Spring promo card, and then also the playmat. And then from 5th to 8th, you get a Needle playmat.
Weapon.
And then all participants get the Needle promo card, as well as a Fabric of Blossoms promo card. So there's Fabric of Spring and Fabric of Blossoms.
Interesting.
Yes.
Fabric and Needle, that's all cosplay exclusive, surely. You can only get that from cos.
Yeah, so I feel like Needle, like Cal said, is going to be like the Taylor specialization weapon or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anytime they have spring in the name, so we have like Spring Tunic, Blossom of Spring, they always generate one resource somehow. So I'm pretty sure this is going to generate you a resource somehow. Blossom. Interesting.
Yeah, Taylor is a shapeshifter hero, so it might be a shapeshifter weapon, but I feel like then maybe there's some weird stuff that happens with Shiana.
Well, they could do the thing where it's like they have it, but it's not legal for CC and Blitz. Just how they like Yorick, you technically can't play Yorick.
Hummingbird, yeah. So yeah, I think it would be interesting. I think that whichever one is the chest piece, Fabric of Spring or Fabric of Blossoms, will likely have some sort of interaction with Taylor's ability, which is at the start of your turn, you can banish an equipment you control. If you do, equip a card of the same subtype from your inventory. It might be like when you equip this, do something, which I think is also the name or the text for not Crown of Providence, the other one.
My guess. There's the Crown of Dominion.
Yes.
I'm gonna guess this is a wild shot, just out of there. I'm gonna guess Blossom headpiece, Spring chest piece, because all of the springs have been chest pieces so far. And I'm gonna guess. I'm just gonna guess Blossom because it's a flower and you put a flower in your hair. I was also guessing Blossom for like hand because it could be like a corsage or whatever. But I'm guessing flat flower in the hair.
That would be interesting because Crown of Dominion would be that wording. When you equip this, create a gold token. So that could be interesting if it's just like when you equip this or when you banish it or whatever, get a resource. So that could be cool.
Interesting.
But again, I was kind of mentioning this when I was chatting with some buds a little while ago. But I love the compensation that they have put together for cosplay contests.
Hell yeah, me too.
Because it's something that's so unbelievably sustainable for them to do. Like, to print these cards, it costs them nothing. Literally nothing. Like, I have no illusions about that. It is basically free. They have it set up. I guess they have, like, the time to set up the card and to, like, get the printing done, etc. But for all intents and purposes, like, it is better for them to do this than just do a cash prize because cash is cash. But like Taylor cards are still so sought after that if somebody wins a Taylor card, they could go around, like just turn around and sell it for, I think the last one I saw was like 3,500 euros.
Yeah, dude, I was gonna say they're like 4-digit cards, easy all day long.
They are expensive. They are a good payout. And the fact that they're able to do this, I just think is so cool. And it's a way for them to show their appreciation for somebody that's interacting with the game in a non-gameplay way, in a way that specifically celebrates them and what they're doing. This is a card that is specifically for cosplayers, and they just keep knocking it out of the park. So I'm really excited to see what these new promo cards and playmats look like. Yeah,
they're so valuable and expensive that they are the only cards I think that I do not own copies of. I think I own a playset of literally every single card in the game except for Taylor and any of the Rudy stuff because I don't care about the Rudy stuff.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, that's reasonable.
I own literally everything else. And out of the things that I actually want of those things, like I said, don't really care about the Rudy stuff. If you like it, cool. But I don't. And so, but I would like a Taylor at some point. And I fully intend on getting my Taylor absolutely destroyed by asking every cosplayer who does Flesh and Blood cosplay to sign it. That is my goal. I want all of the FAB cosplayers to sign it, probably on the full art side. So I'll have the one side with the text, or maybe I'll do it the opposite way. I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to I want to get one, and then I want to get all the FAB cosplayer people that I know to sign it. I want to ask Olivia. I'll ask Rachel and Carolina. I'm sorry. I don't know how to pronounce your name. I'm really bad with names, unless you say it out loud. Bitchy Velour, I think is what she goes by.
Yeah.
So I want to get like all of the FAB cosplayers. There's a whole bunch I'm forgetting. I apologize, but yeah, that's my. But as a like a $4,000, $3,000 card, I don't want to do that yet. I want to wait.
It's a bit of a tough one.
It would be less expensive for me to get into cosplay and make my own cosplay and try to win an event than it would be for me to buy one.
Yeah. I thought about it. I literally, I would just ask Olivia. I'd be like, okay, Olivia, I would like to commission you to make me something awesome. She's probably very expensive, but yeah, pay her $3,000 to make something awesome, and then just go get a card that's worth $3,000. I'll just be like, I don't know what Flesh and Blood character I could be. I'd have to lose some weight. There's no like dad bod characters right now, but once there is, I got it. Maybe if I bulk up quite a bit, I can be Bravo. I need to go to the gym like more often.
Gaston, yeah.
Yeah.
I got the hair. There's not a lot of like other long-haired male heroes right now for Flesh and Blood, right?
Not that I'm aware of, but yeah. Anyway, I just think that that's really cool, and that's something I definitely wanted to shout out because it's just them doubling down on their support for cosplayers and just fleshing that out further, and I think that that's fantastic. I'm really, really happy to see that.
I keep hitting my mic. I apologize. I could be Arachne because Arachne is just an all mask get up
and a huge
spike hump thing,
cloak. Yeah,
like the poncho, and they got the gloves. I've seen some really cool Arachne masks, but yeah, I want an Arachne mask. That'd be sweet.
That makes sense too.
That'd be cool. Anyway.
No, I was going to try and dress as Azalea, but me clad in leather probably is not the way to go, to be honest.
Wait.
Hey, I'm not here to judge you about what you do in your free time, buddy.
You could be, dude, you could totally be like gender bent Azalea. Just be like, dude version of Azalea. Get some like sweet leather armor. Yeah, you could do that.
I
could do that. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Oh, that's a good segue.
Segue.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So yeah, also just for anybody who's still hanging out with us, the should be up by the time this episode comes up. I don't know if the session 0 that you're working on, Cal, is going to be.
Yes, episode 0 will probably be up yesterday. We'll see. But it will be up both in the Living Legends podcast feed. So if you are a podcast-only listener, it will be available to you. And if you are a video-only viewer, then it will also be on the Red Zone Road YouTube channel. I have made a episode 0 for our Living Legends podcast special production D&D Flesh and Blood session or small campaign. I'm not sure how you want to call it. The Escape from Southmaw, which is a D&D several episode session. We don't actually know how long it's going to be right now, but spoilers, more than one. It's really cool. We've already recorded one session. It's awesome. I'm super excited about it. And
so funny.
It's so good. It's so good. It's like the perfect mix of like being serious, but also kind of somewhat not at the same time. It's like exactly what you would expect from a D&D session, I would say, if you watch D&D online, and I do. I watch a decent amount of it. So it's really great. Session 0 or episode 0, you should check it out. It just kind of gives you the lowdown of what the campaign is, and then we go over all of our characters, and that's what they were alluding to. We have Azra, the mullet.
That's right. Yeah, so that's my character. And then obviously we got 2 other characters as well. We got Honor and Villain as well, which is just it's just a fantastic group of characters.
It's really good.
The situations they get themselves into is just funny.
It's good.
So far it's been quite interesting. We're, as a peek behind the curtain, I think Kale said we're about halfway through the session so far. So even at the time of recording, we don't know what's going to happen with it, which is still really exciting. But yeah, it's something that has been in the works for a while, and Kale has put a lot of work into it.
We can talk about this because I think it's just interesting. Initially, we kind of pitched the idea. I think I tweeted on a whim that I was really like to do a Flesh and Blood D&D session. And then from that, I got a bunch of responses. This was like well over a year ago. And it was, I think Az responded. I think this is before we even started the Living Legends podcast, actually. I think so. Because I think... Yeah. You guys responded, and we were doing the UPF games at the time because Steven also got in on it. So it was us, Steven, and then Kale was going to be the DM, and then Miss Chalice, who hasn't done a lot of Flesh and Blood stuff in a while. She's mostly like a Elden Ring lore like YouTuber who's gotten quite popular since then, actually. But she was also initially in on it, and it's been a while, and now it is a Living Legends podcast production. So it is us plus our good buddy Kale from Dead Summer Art, and it's really good. And if we do this again, by the way, if you like it, go on that other video and then like it, and then tell us that you like it. And then when we finally put the actual session out, hey, like that too, and then tell us you like it there, because the more people who like it and tell us that you like it, we will do more. Because it's a lot of fun, and if people enjoy it, why would we not do it more? And so, who knows where we go in the future if this goes well? But I do know that there are some other folks who are interested in joining us, so it could be a even bigger group. And who knows? Maybe next time we'll be in Solana, or we'll flavor it with the newest set. Maybe we'll be in Mysteria or something. But it's cool.
Yeah, so I think I'm really excited for how it turns out. So far, I have been as much of a comedic relief as I can be. I think it's been fun.
Yep.
This is a reference just to these guys here. But the fact that I pulled these out and Kale was just flabbergasted made me quite happy. But yeah, actually, as like on the topic of sort of crossovers, I didn't even tell you guys about this, but yesterday I sat down with a couple of people from the IP2 podcast. Who's a podcast based out of Calgary, and they talk about like judge stuff and starting community and stuff like that. Felix and Shay are their names, and they reached out to me a little while ago, and they were like, "Hey, like we've heard that you've done a lot of like local community building, and we listen to your stuff, and we're a big fan, and like, would you be interested in chatting with us?" And so that's what I did yesterday. They're both fantastic, and I just wanted to shout them out for being like super nice and like coming up with really thoughtful questions to ask. But yeah, you should definitely go check them out. Felix, he goes by Arcfire, ARCFYR, and then Shay, and their podcast is the IP2 podcast.
Nice.
And it was lots of fun, and they're good guys. So
fantastic.
But yeah, nice. I have all of a sudden I have a life outside of you guys.
That's good.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, I think we can also end on the mailbox. Now, the mailbox is a new is a new thing that we're going to be doing because we've got an email account now. So that is the Living Legends Podcast at gmail.com, where you can sort of hit us with your sort of stories, comments, and questions on Flesh and Blood and anything you might want to know. And the first person actually dropped into our inbox recently, and as a result of that, have won the Good Deeds promo card that I was offering up as a result of emailing us. So well done to David M. I'm not going to dox you completely, but David M. Emailed us. So thanks, David. And he's saying, hello, my name is David. I've been playing FAB for several months now, and all the while have thoroughly enjoyed the podcast and videos you guys post. I have a local video game store that has voiced their interests into getting into TCGs. A local video game store interested into getting into TCGs. Growing up in an LGS for Magic, I've been very much interested in getting back into the local competitive scene and have been asked to introduce them to the game. My question is, do you guys have any advice to help me demo, in quotation marks, the game for them to encourage to bring the world of Rave to small town Alabama? Thanks for your time and keep on making wonderful content and for all the insight and enjoyment that they are. So thanks, David, for that question. What do we think? What's the best thing to help demo the game?
2 options, in my opinion. 3 options, actually. So first option kind of ties with the second option. Outsiders, Blitz, starter decks. They are very, very good to learn the game. Second option, History Pack 1, Blitz, demo decks. Either of those or all of those are fantastic. You literally just roll up with those, be like, pick whatever character you think looks the coolest, and then you can demo them out. I think that's probably the best way. And it also gets someone they immediately get attached because they picked a character that they're like, ooh, this character looks cool. Whether it be, Dorinthia or Riptide or whatever, right? So that is option 1 and 2. Second option is less flashy, and that's just try to get some Ira welcome decks. If you want to go real deep on it, you can do commoner decks, but I highly suggest the Outsiders and the History Pack 1 Blitz starters.
Yep.
Do that.
Yeah. Shout out to Brian Gottlieb. He took a product that was absolutely necessary and not performing very well from his own admission, and he turned it into something that is almost unrecognizable from what it was. I reference the Monarch Blitz pre-constructed decks a lot because they are like a core memory for me on how bad of an intro product it was. But yeah, the newest ones, the History Pack and the Outsiders ones, that'd be where I'd start too. The way that I personally would do it is I would just build somebody decks that they want to play out of all of the bulk that I have. But that's not really a low barrier of entry option. Right. So yeah, I would definitely agree with Kel there. It's a really low buy-in for those. It's what, like $12, $10 US?
I think you can get a better deal if you just buy the brick, right? The brick has all of them, like for the Outsiders one at least, and I think you can get it for like $40 for all 6 decks. It's like $40 to $50, something like that, for all of them.
Yeah, that's what I was going to suggest as well, because you can do that for both History Pack and Outsiders, right? They can get all the decks in one box, and you can treat it as a board game. And that's great as well, because obviously you can either play 1v1 or you can play with multiple players and just play UPF. So that's why those bricks are good, because you can play with six. You can entertain 6 new players with the 6 decks. So that's definitely a good place to start.
You get almost all of the classes too. You don't get all of them, so you don't get Illusionist.
No.
But you get almost all of the classes in there. A lot of different play styles. A lot of the decks just feel pretty good. Like I've play tested all of them pretty decently for the review video that I did, at least for the Outsiders one. I also play tested all of the History Pack ones, but I never made a video on it because I just never bought them. They're actually weirdly hard to find. I don't know. They're just weirdly hard to find here in the West. They're more prevalent in Europe because they were the first starter decks in the Flesh and Blood non-English languages. But if you can get your hands on them, I recommend it. Like if you're like, oh, I just want to do one or the other, it's it's really up to you. I think they're both great. I think Outsiders is easier to learn because you don't have to deal with any of the arcane nonsense. Whereas the history pack ones, you have Viscerai and you also have Kano that have some arcane barrier stuff. And because of that, some of the other heroes randomly just have like arcane barrier pieces, which against some heroes do nothing at all. So if you have like Dorinthia versus like I don't know, like Reyna or something, Dorinthia versus Bravo, the arcane damage, the whatever you call them, the
Null Rune,
yeah, they like do nothing. So with that being said, I've talked myself into saying you should buy the Outsiders ones if you're gonna pick one of the other, or buy all 12. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's the definitive experience, I think, because as you say, there's no arcane damage, and they're all sort of balanced to fight each other, aren't they? To a certain
they're very
degree.
good.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. The arcane
really
throws
solid.
Hey, you know what? Self-plug, but not really because they're not on my YouTube channel. Hey, I made a series of Blitz starter deck gameplay videos for Flesh and Blood for Legend Story Studios with these two guys. And then also DM Armada, who is another Flesh and Blood YouTuber and a really good friend.
This is true.
And they're all up on the official Flesh and Blood YouTube channel. So you can actually go watch those videos on the Flesh and Blood YouTube channel and see them for yourselves. What we do is we play with the Blitz starter decks unmodified, and then we play a second time with modified versions of the decks with a bigger budget, basically. So yeah, they're fun. Yeah. They're good.
Good stuff. I hope that answers your question, David. Thanks for your email as well, and I will send you the Good Deeds card as a result of being our first mailbox at the end of the month. So thank you very much. And again, if you're listening to this now in the future, you can email us at thelivinglegendspodcast@gmail.com, and we will try and read one every single episode going forward, as long as they do keep coming in. That's that.
Yeah.
I guess onto the Arsenal, I imagine. If there's anything.
For the email, you don't have to ask a question too. You could just comment. You could be like, hey, Az's hair is looking particularly lovely today. Like, that's fine too.
Comment stories and questions, Yeah.
Yeah. Like, if you want to share something that really sort of inspired you in your local meta, if you're really happy about how your local game store has been supporting Flesh and Blood, like, we want to hear about that too. We want to hear about your experiences, because it's not always the same everywhere, and being able to compare notes is always really useful, especially for people who have sort of more insular communities. We want to hear from you guys. And I know we have a comment section, and I personally check all of the comments on all of our videos, like, pretty frantically for the first few days that they're out. But yeah, just another option for questions directly to us.
Yeah, absolutely. And good stuff.
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, for the Arsenal step, I kind of jumped the gun on mine, I guess. Once again, shout out to the IP2 podcast, because they're just cool dudes. But do either of you have anything that you'd like to add to the Arsenal before we wrap things up?
Nothing new. I've just been playing a lot of Diablo in my free time. I actually don't have a lot of free time, so I'm not as high level as I would like. I'm grinding my way up to 70 so I can do the second capstone dungeon. I tried the second capstone dungeon at 60, which is 10 levels below, and I got to the boss of it, and he would one-shot me over and over and over. And so I'm like, nope, I'm going to wait till I'm a little bit higher. I do a lot of damage. I'm like a glass cannon. If those of you who are playing Diablo, I play Rapid Fire Trap Rogue, by the way. And which is I feel this degree of satisfaction. I'm very satisfied because satisfaction. Yeah, words and stuff are hard.
Satisfaction.
But shooting people with my bow is not. So there's a lot of YouTubers who are like, oh, you got to play the Twisting Blades melee build. You got to play the Twisting Blades build as like the best rogue build. And then I've just been sitting here playing Rapid Fire the whole time. And then lo and behold, comes out. Everyone's like, Rapid Fire Rogue, best end game build. And I'm like, I know. I've been playing it since launch. So
that's a YouTube video waiting to happen, isn't it? Surely.
If I was not a card game YouTuber, that would have already happened.
It would have happened. Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I'm just playing Diablo, so there's not much else in my free time. YouTube videos. I'm working on the D&D session stuff. I want to make the session 0 trailer really cool. So
Yeah. Looking forward to seeing that. Should be good fun.
that's what I'm doing.
Definitely.
How about you, Bill? What have you been? Oh, wait, you already been up to stuff. Hey, Az, what have you been up to? You've been.
I guess we've done this in reverse, haven't we? We've done the sort of our week at the very end of the podcast, which is fine. It's all well and good. Because I've been making some stupid images recently, which obviously I alluded to at the very, very start. So one of them is in the chat right now. It's Bolton as Superman, which I did today.
Ooh,
Did see this one? Yeah, that's a good one.
So I did that today, and there's also other ones as well, like the what's the card? The new card that was released, the United We Stand. I did one half of that, and then one half of like Vincent and all the demons and stuff. So I've just been messing around with all the new images. There it is. Look at that.
Bolton as Superman.
Super
Look
Bolton.
at that. Oh,
Superman Bolton. Absolutely.
I'm here for it.
Yeah, I just love that image. That image is like pure majestic. The cloak that's obviously in the actual image is like floating above him, so it's like that pure imagery of just like godlike almost. I absolutely love it,
Dude. The art in the set is incredible. Like
it really is.
The creative team, at least like art wise, have been crushing it. I can't wait to read more lore. Like, yeah, man, I'm pretty stoked. Like, as far as like Flesh and Blood storylines go, like I've never been like the biggest fan of like the light versus darkness, like the whole thing, but I've been really into Diablo recently, and that's kind of like all the Diablo is. So,
oh god,
yeah. But Diablo's got that middle ground too, where like everyone just kind of sucks. So Diablo also feels like it's got like Pits vibes too. So maybe that's why I like the Pits. But yeah.
But all in all, it's going to be good fun. Obviously, spoilers are a week away, and we still none of the creators know what's going on.
Yeah. Okay.
Apparently, Alex did say give me a few hours on Twitter just a moment ago, though. I'm not sure whether you've seen that, but
hold on. Everyone, refresh your emails to see in real time. Nope. I just got some YouTube notifications.
But yeah,
nope.
Bummer.
Holy shit, I've got one. No, I haven't really.
You fiend.
You absolute fiend. But yeah, Flake posted Matt DeMarco posted a I was going to say a status then. That's Facebook back in 2010. Anyway, it was a tweet saying where are all the spoilers at? Give me more spoilers. And then Alex replied saying give me a few hours. That was a few hours ago.
Okay.
So I don't know what that alludes to, but I imagine we can keep our eyes and ears peeled over the next few hours because there might be some other stuff trickling through, whether that's emails or other things coming up.
Interesting.
Yeah. Come on, Alex, please. Like I'll do a shoey if I have to. Come on, man.
Yeah, please. I did this shoey for nothing at this point. Come on now.
Like at this point, the people who you would probably suspect who would know don't know. So like,
yeah,
that's it.
I do not know if I'm getting a spoiler yet or not, and I know that DM Armada also does not know because he was in another chat on Facebook that I'm gonna chat with him, Jim, and Ian Kenderdine. That this was our traveling chat that we were in for like events last year, and Steven was like, "Y'all get a spoiler yet?" And I'm like, "Nope, nope, no one has one yet." So
nobody knows.
They're just keeping it as what's what I'm looking for. They're trying to keep the level of suspense as high as possible.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, so what I suspect actually is going on is they wanted to do this whole campaign with the IGN reveal and everything before they started giving like other content creators the spoilers, and because like so we had like the little tidbits, we had the Bravo one and we had the Briar one and we had the Lexi one, and then it all culminated with this big one where it's like, united we stand. I feel like they wanted to do that and then give everyone, but they're cutting it real close because spoilers start in 11 days, and that is not a lot of time if you're a content creator, especially if you're going to do like high quality like work. If you're going to be, I'll tell you what, I'm probably not going to be animating like 12 images like I did last time. Just saying. And like I was thinking about other things I could do this time. I was like, oh, maybe I could hire like a musician to make like a metal track if they gave me like a shadow card, and I would just hire someone to do like a 20-second like metal track that had just like awesome like death screams and stuff. But I'm like, I don't got time, dude. No one's gonna whip up a badass song for me in like 5 days. Like that's not gonna happen. Like so it's like
that's good. That's a good point though, because we haven't seen any shadow stuff at all.
Yeah,
so
none.
Nothing, and it's a massive set as well. It's like 280 odd cards, isn't it, or something?
Oh yeah, and there's a lot of legendaries. Oh, I hope I get a legendary. Come on, come here. Selfishly, very selfishly, I want the blue illusionist. Give me the blue illusionist. That's my if I get a like channel divinity. If I get to channel my called shot, I would very much like the blue illusionist lady, please. With the silver hair. She's cool, and I like her. She's the whole reason, by the way, I chose that I asked to work with Bima and Crovius, is because they drew that character in 2 pieces of artwork that I love. So much so that I got a print from Crovius. That's how I got in contact with Crovius. That's why I chose to work with them, because I really loved the art from that character. So, and when they finally do make that into a hero, I want to get Livia Prima to draw that character so I can have the yellow illusionist Prism, and then I have Dromai here for the red. So now I need the trifecta. I need the triune.
The absolute threesome.
Anyway, but as always, like I'm tempering my expectations. I always do. So if they end up deciding not to give me one this time, then I'll be like, okay, that's fine. You know, and I'll watch it. I'll watch everyone else's. So we'll see.
They are doing it very differently. So we'll see what happens. I mean, I was told by Alex that I'm getting one. I still don't have a fucking clue where it is. So I don't know what's going on.
We'll just have to see.
We'll just have to see. But until that time comes, next week on the Living Legends podcast, we might have more news for you as to whether
we still don't know. Like we
still don't know. That's it. That maybe they're setting a challenge this time. It's like Crystal Maze. You have to do like a weird challenge. Can you release a spoiler video in 2 days? Go.
Yeah, no, it'll be like during a live stream. Like I'll just be live streaming it on the time that I'm supposed to spoil it. And then that's when they give me the spoiler. Like it comes in my inbox while I'm live streaming it. So I'm like, I got
just waiting for the spoiler.
It's a 2 for 6 common shadow card that does nothing. Thanks for watching, everyone.
It is.
Yeah. So
it's
very interesting.
Mutated mass. Mutated mass 2.
Congealed mass.
Boogaloo.
Shadow
Boogaloo.
Yeah.
Right. Let's get out of here. Let's close this off now.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks y'all for hanging out with us as always. We appreciate your continued support. I've been Bill from the Spike Feeders. You can find me on Twitter at BillTSF. You can also find me on YouTube at the Spike Feeders FAB. We do live edited gameplay content, and if that's something that interests you should definitely go check us out. Kicking it over once again, alphabetical order to wherever he is. As
yes, I'm right here.
Oh, he's right there.
Disappeared. Anyway, so I'm Az from Go Again Gaming on YouTube, and Go Again Gaming AZ on Twitter. And I do lots of different things in no particular order either. There's no structure. It's just all absolute chaos over here. But that's it, really. I'm going to throw it over to Cal.
Az just has like he's got like a dartboard, but instead of a dartboard, it's just all like sticky putty, and then he wads up a bunch of ideas that are like paper balls, and he just chucks it shotgun style at the sticky putty, and whatever one actually sticks into the sticky putty, he's like, that's my video today. Let's do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. And then he half the time it's just like, do a shoey on Twitter, and he's like,
shoey. Oh yeah.
He's just like, well, guess I'm doing a shoey.
Yes, I'm going to do shoey then. Yeah. Brilliant.
I'm Kel, also known as Red Zone Rogue. You can find me at all the Red Zone Rogue things. And hey, you can also maybe find me at the Battle Hardened that's coming up in Portland in September. I did not know that was happening. That was just announced like a day or two ago. I'm pretty excited about that. Luckily, they announced that it's happening like mid-September because I am going to be leaving late September for a Grand Archive event. So this one I will be able to go to. I think it's the 16th and 17th. So if you are going to Battle Hardened Portland, I will likely be going to. I don't know if I'm playing in the main event, which is Blitz Team. Team Blitz, which sounds rad as hell. But if I have a team, maybe. If I don't have a team, I'll just hang out and do side events or whatever. Because it is my hometown. I could just drive there. I'm probably just going to get like a lift or something. So
Nice.
Yeah. Looking forward to that.
Spectacular. But yeah. Anyways, once again, thanks everybody for hanging out with us today. Thank you guys for co-hosting as always. And stay well, stay safe, and we'll catch everybody in the next episode.
Cheers. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Shot!